Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and today we have another exciting episode for you.
Hi everyone, I'm Julia, your co-host, and I'm so happy you're here with us today. Whether you're at home, walking outside, or maybe studying at your desk, thank you for listening.
That's right. In this episode, we're going to talk about a very important topic: how to be a good English student.
Yes, many people want to learn English, but sometimes they don't know how to study in the best way. Being a good student is not just about going to class. It's also about your attitude, your habits, and how you practice every day.
Exactly. And the good news is, anyone can be a good English student. You don't have to be perfect, and you don't need to know everything. You just need the right mindset and some simple strategies.
In today's podcast, we'll share why being a good English student matters, what habits you can build, how to practice outside of class, and even how to stay motivated when learning feels hard.
So if you sometimes feel lost in your English journey, don't worry. This episode will give you tips, ideas, and encouragement to help you grow as a student.
All right, Jason, are you ready to dive in?
I'm ready. Let's get started. So, Julia, before we talk about how to be a good English student, maybe we should first ask an important question. Why does it even matter? Why is it important to be a good English student?
That's a really good question, Jason. You see, learning English is like a journey. If you're just walking without direction, you might get lost or move very slowly. But if you become a good student, you can move faster, understand better, and enjoy the journey.
I like that example. Being a good English student is not only about grades in school, it's also about building skills that help you in the real world. For example, if you want to travel, study abroad, or work in an international company, English is often the key.
Exactly. And when you are a good student, you learn how to listen carefully, how to practice regularly, and how to stay motivated. These skills don't just help in English, they also help in other parts of your life.
That's true. I think another important point is confidence. When you know you are learning well, you feel more confident. You're not afraid to speak, and you don't worry too much about making mistakes.
Yes, and confidence changes everything. Imagine you are in a classroom or talking with a friend. If you feel confident, you will speak more, practice more, and of course, improve faster.
So, in short, being a good English student matters because it makes learning faster, easier, and more enjoyable. It gives you confidence and opens doors in your future.
Well said, Jason. And the best part is, anyone can become a good student with the right attitude and habits.
Perfect. And that leads us to our next topic, something very important for every learner: attitude and motivation. All right, Julia, let's talk about the first key to being a good English student: your attitude and your motivation.
Yes, many people think learning English is only about grammar, vocabulary, or rules. But actually, your attitude is just as important. If you have a positive attitude, learning becomes much easier.
That's so true. I've seen students who believe English is too hard, I can't do it. And guess what? They don't improve much because they already feel defeated.
Exactly. But if you say, I can learn step by step, I just need practice, then your brain is open to learning. You start to enjoy small progress, and that keeps you motivated.
Motivation is another big word here. It's the reason why you're learning English. Julia, what do you think are some good reasons to learn English?
Well, many. Maybe you want to get a better job, study in another country, make new friends, or travel with confidence. When you remember your reason, it pushes you forward, even on days when studying feels boring or difficult.
I agree. And here's a tip for our listeners. Write down your reason for learning English on a piece of paper. keep it on your desk or your phone. Every time you feel tired, look at it and remind yourself why you started.
That's a great idea. Also, celebrate your progress. Even small things like learning 5 new words, finishing a short story, or speaking one full sentence with confidence, that's success.
Yes, a good student doesn't need to be perfect. They just need a positive attitude and motivation to keep going.
Exactly. With the right mindset, everything else, like grammar, vocabulary, and speaking, becomes easier.
Beautiful. Now that we've talked about motivation, let's move to something very practical. How to build strong learning habits. Now, Julia, we know that attitude and motivation are important, but to really improve, you need good habits.
That's right. Habits are like small actions you repeat every day. If you study a little bit every day, it's much better than studying a lot only once a week.
Exactly. For example, reading one page in English every night before bed might seem small, but after a month, you've read 30 pages.
Yes, and the same goes for speaking. Even talking to yourself in English for 5 minutes each day is a great habit. You can describe what you're doing, like, I'm cooking dinner or I'm cleaning my room.
I love that. Another habit is listening. Instead of always listening to music in your own language, try listening to an English podcast, a short story, or even English songs with subtitles.
And don't forget writing. A good student can keep a small notebook or use their phone to write 3 simple sentences in English every day. Something like, Today I went to school. I met my friend. We talked about homework.
That's a great example, Julia. These small habits build your skills step by step. You don't need long, complicated study sessions. What matters is being consistent.
Yes, consistency is the key. A little every day is better than a lot only once in a while.
So, to be a good English student, start small, repeat daily, and let your habits carry you forward.
Exactly. And now, let's talk about another important part of learning, how to interact in the classroom and with your teacher.
So, Julia, let's talk about something many English learners experience every day. The classroom. How can someone be a good English student inside the classroom?
Good question. I think the first step is listening carefully. Sometimes students get distracted, but if you really focus on the teacher, you can learn a lot.
Yes, and another big one is asking questions. Some students are shy and think, if I ask, maybe I look silly. But actually, good students ask questions. It shows that you want to learn.
Exactly. A teacher is there to help you. If you don't understand a word or a grammar rule, it's okay to raise your hand and say, "Excuse me, can you explain again?"
That's right. And here's a tip. Don't just wait for the teacher. Try to participate. If the teacher asks a question, try to answer, even if you're not sure. Making mistakes is part of learning.
Yes. In fact, teachers love when students try. Even if your answer is not perfect, your effort shows that you're serious about learning.
Also, respecting the class is important. Be on time, bring your materials, and avoid using your phone. These small actions make you a responsible student.
And don't forget about classmates. A good English student also learns from peers by listening, sharing ideas, and even practicing together.
So, to summarize, listen carefully, ask questions, participate, and respect both your teacher and classmates. These habits make you shine in the classroom.
Yes, and being a good student in class is the foundation. But outside class, you also need to take responsibility for your own learning.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Self-study and responsibility. All right, Julia, we just talked about the classroom. But what about when students go home? How important is self-study?
It's very important, Jason. In fact, learning doesn't stop when class ends. A good English student takes responsibility for their own learning. That means practicing even when the teacher is not watching.
That's true. For example, if the teacher gives homework, don't just do it quickly to finish. Try to understand it. And if you finish early, you can always do more, like reading an extra page or learning new words.
Yes, and self-study can be fun too. You can use apps, watch YouTube videos in English, listen to podcasts, or even play games that use English.
I love that idea. I often tell students, don't wait for your teacher to teach you everything. A good student is curious. They look for answers and practice on their own.
Exactly. Responsibility also means being honest with yourself. If you didn't study today, admit it and try again tomorrow. Don't give up.
And here's a simple tip. Make a small plan. For example, 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of listening, and 10 minutes of writing each day. That's only 30 minutes, but it makes a big difference.
Yes, and it's better than waiting for one big study day that never happens. Little steps every day show responsibility and make you a strong learner.
So, self-study and responsibility are like the engine of your English learning. Without them, progress is very slow. With them, you can move forward much faster.
Exactly. And next, we'll talk about something really fun: how to practice English outside the classroom.
So, Julia, we've talked about self-study at home. But I think one of the best ways to improve English is by practicing outside the classroom.
I agree, Jason. English is not just a school subject, it's a language for real life. The more you use it in daily life, the faster you improve.
Exactly. For example, students can practice speaking with friends. Even if your friends are from the same country, you can agree to speak English for 5 or 10 minutes a day.
Yes, and you don't need perfect English. Just try simple sentences like, "How are you?" or "What did you eat today?" That's already good practice.
Another great way is through entertainment. Watch movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos in English. Start with subtitles, and later try without them.
That's a fun idea. Music is also great. Listen to English songs and maybe try to sing along. It helps with pronunciation and listening.
And here's one more. Use English in your daily routine. For example, when you write your shopping list, write it in English. Or when you look at your phone, change the language settings to English.
That's a smart tip. Even small things like these keep English in your mind every day.
So, practicing outside the classroom is all about making English part of your life, not just something you study for a test.
Exactly. And when English becomes part of your life, learning feels natural and enjoyable.
That's right. But sometimes, even with good practice, students face challenges. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Overcoming common challenges. Julia, even if students study hard, they often face problems. What do you think are the most common challenges English learners have?
Good question. I think one big challenge is fear of making mistakes. Many students don't want to speak because they're afraid of saying something wrong.
Yes, I see that a lot too. But here's the truth. Mistakes are part of learning. Every time you make a mistake, you have a chance to learn something new.
Exactly. Another challenge is lack of confidence. Some students understand English in their head, but when it's time to speak, they freeze.
That's so true. And the solution is practice. The more you speak, even if it's to yourself or with a friend, the more comfortable you become. Confidence grows step by step.
Right? And another challenge is staying consistent. Many people start strong, but after 1 or 2 weeks they stop. Life gets busy and English practice is forgotten.
Yes, that's a big one. A good tip here is to make English a small daily habit, not a big task. For example, 5 minutes of speaking, 5 minutes of listening, and that's it. Small is better than nothing.
I agree. And here's something important. Don't compare yourself with others. Some people learn faster, some slower, and that's okay. Focus on your own progress.
That's excellent advice, Julia. So even though challenges are normal, they can be overcome with the right mindset and consistent practice.
Exactly. And now let's share some quick, practical tips that can help our listeners become even better English students.
All right, Julia. We've talked about motivation, habits, and challenges. But let's give our listeners some quick, practical tips they can use right away.
Great idea. Tip number 1, study a little every day. Even 10 to 15 minutes is powerful if you do it regularly.
Tip number 2, don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are not failures. They're steps toward improvement.
Tip number 3, use English in daily life. Change your phone to English, write your shopping list in English, or even talk to yourself in English.
Tip number 4, ask questions. In class or online, never be shy to ask. A curious student is always a good student.
And finally, tip number 5, enjoy the process. Watch movies, listen to songs, and make learning fun. If you enjoy English, you'll never feel tired of it.
Those are fantastic tips. Simple, easy, and very effective.
Yes, and if our listeners follow even 2 or 3 of these tips, they will see big progress in their English journey.
Absolutely. And now, let's wrap up today's episode with a short recap and a goodbye. Well, Julia, that was a great discussion today. We covered a lot about how to be a good English student, from motivation and habits to classroom tips and self-study.
Yes, Jason, and I hope our listeners feel inspired. Remember, being a good English student isn't about being perfect. It's about having a positive attitude, practicing regularly, and enjoying the learning process.
Absolutely. Keep using English every day, ask questions, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Small steps every day lead to big improvements.
And remember, everyone can become a good English student. You just need patience, practice, and the right mindset.
Thank you so much for listening to the English Learning Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it useful.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this podcast with friends who are learning English.
That's right. And until next time, keep practicing and stay motivated. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Keep learning and have fun with English.